Muddy water, which is brown water, isnyama silapho sikhona.
Okay.
Black water, where amanzi are absolutely black. That means that you have in your family there was a deep curse which runs very far back in the history, and it's also self-inflicted.
Now you're talking about dreams. Can this occur to you in your dreams to see what's happening in your family?
No, most certainly it can occur in your dreams.
Tell us, first of all, Amanzi amnyama, what is it? What's the problem? What are we looking at?
Okay, so a lot of the time people always hear or often hear that no, kunesinyama la ekhaya okanye kunamanzi amnyama la ekhaya aphehliwe kumele ukuthi zigezwe, right? Amanzi amnyama is very different to witchcraft, okay? Because witchcraft is an inflicted curse by another person. Amanzi amnyama is a consequence or rather a self-inflicted curse which is a result of betrayal within the family, between family members, but more particularly between siblings.
Is that like bad blood?
It's another phrase of bad blood.
Yeah.
It's when you say no, but there's bad blood between myself and my brother, and myself and my sister. But it is when that bad blood causes you to either go to a healer and say, no, I'm going to do ABCD with Ijos Lasekaya, and you tell your healer to exclude or leave your siblings out of it. Or you're going to say, my mother passes away, and I'm going to go to that healer. He's going to say, listen, go take Inkyaba to the sand from the grave where you're going to bury your mother, and come back to me so we can do ABCD with it. So it's the direct betrayal of another family member using Ijos Lasekaya.
So then to ask what's the root cause, I mean a human is the root cause, right?
Definitely. Amanzi amnyama is caused by another human being betraying another human being in the family. But the betrayal is in such a way that I'm going to elevate myself, but I'm intentionally leaving you behind.
What are some of the consequences as a result? Does that, let's break it down. Is it successful sometimes that you are then elevated and your brother is de-escalated?
Yeah, most certainly. It's successful. You see, especially that one, the sand of the grave, right? That one, people use it, and it is successful where you do get to that point where you are here and the rest of your siblings are down but are struggling, and then everybody asks themselves, but why is it only one sibling where it is that person above and then the rest of the siblings are beneath him?
Because it'll be things that don't make sense, right? It'll be things like this person is highly qualified, they are very smart, they are business smart, but they just can't seem to succeed.
Exactly. I mean, not to say that every single scenario like this is attributed to that.
Absolutely.
But the spiritual cause, but it is possible where you can use Ijos Lasekaya, right? Specifically where wealth and success is meant to be distributed equally, but you're deciding to concentrate it specifically on yourself.
So I was asking then, so the first point of view was, can it work? Can it be successful? If you are looking in your family and you feel that maybe you are the suppressed one, what are some of the symptoms and signs of that, and what can you do?
You see, the best way to find out what's going on, thatha amakhandlela amhlophe, ukhanyise amakhandlela amhlophe le ndishe inamele. If that doesn't work, don't use tap water, use seawater, spring water, right, from an actual spring, or water from a waterfall.
Okay.
If that form of upasha doesn't work, go to the sea, collect seawater. I think I spoke about a 7-day spiritual cleanse using seawater.
Yeah.
You're going to collect seawater enough to bath with it for 7 days. Run a normal bath and then pour like half a liter or a liter or so of seawater in the bathtub. You're going to call upon your ancestors and you're washing your body with this, and you're explaining to them. Don't ask them, am I being suppressed and is this happening? No. Phrase the question like this. Ask them, what is going on? Where is the blockage? Please shed light on the way forward. And let them come to you and say, actually, mfano ndodakazi, this is the cause of the problem.
And will the ancestors say this is the problem, that something like this is happening in the flowery language that we know our ancestors and forefathers sometimes like to speak in? Or will they say, it's your big brother, it's this that they've done?
They won't. The most recent client I'm dealing with now, sorting out this problem, his family, he hasn't been told who did it, but he's been tasked with cleansing it. Now, you see, amanyama, sometimes it didn't happen in the generation that's alive at the moment, but it may have happened previously.
Right.
So now we're busy helping him work through the process of First, you cleanse it and remove it. Once it's cleansed and removed, then the ancestors can decide to tell you who did it. Or they might decide not to tell you who did it. Ooh. It depends on what they feel like. If they feel it might cause tensions, or sometimes what happens is you cleanse it and they'll say, don't worry, we'll deal with the person who did it ourselves.
Ooh. And then what? You just wait, sit back,
You must
relax.
just wait and sit back, because then you're interfering in their plans.
You can send us a voice note with your questions about our topic today, Amanzi, amanyama, on the morning show on E. You can send it to us. Please don't laugh at me with my isiZulu pronunciation, but you can send me those voice notes and send them to CM Kiza. He's sitting right here, and he'll answer some of your questions. So one of the questions that came up in the research was, what's the difference between this and umkhokha?
Umkhokha.
Yeah,
okay. Umkhokha is a violent loop of death. That's specifically tied to how a pattern of death which is traumatic and violent. Car accidents, stabbing, stroke included, heart attack included. People, we exclude heart attack and strokes, right?
Because I think we think that that's natural causes.
It's yes and no. If the first 5 generations, all the firstborn sons pass away from a stroke or a heart attack, that's umkhokha, right? So that's what umkhokha is. It's specifically a violent loop or a pattern of death. This, on the other hand, represents as amnyama, and a lot of the time you'll hear some people say, no, healers will arrive at the house and say, no, kunamanzinyama kumele ngiwakhiphe okanye kumele ngikhiphe idlozi ngilgeze and then ngilibuyise. Right? Those are usually the phrases. Okanye. Some people say, "Kukhishwe idalwa, zigezwe and then zingeniswe futhi." Those are the kind of phrases that people use. So this isn't necessarily tied to death. Umkhokha is tied to death.
All right. What about idwala? That's another question that came through. What's the difference there? Explain that to us.
So idwala is, I suppose it'd be a language thing that some people use the word idwala for idlozi and amanzinyama or abantu abangasekho. You know, it's just a language thing. Different words for idlozi lasekhaya.
So if I say as a Mosotho metsi amathu, is it the same thing? Why are we saying black water or dirty water or dark water? What are we actually saying?
Because there's 4 or 3 kinds of water that you can be seeing in your dreams. Clear water, good. Everything's fine. Spiritual purity is there. Murky water, it's white, but you know when you've just had a bath, right?
Yes.
And it's little hazy? That means asikisnyama, there's nothing to worry about, but there's just something that you need to clear up just so that you can get the spiritual clarity. Muddy water, which is brown water, isnyama silapho sikhona.
Okay.
Black water, where amanzi are absolutely black. That means that you have in your family there was a deep curse which runs very far back in the history, and it's also self-inflicted.
Now you're talking about dreams. Can this occur to you in your dreams to see what's happening in your family?
No, most certainly it can occur in your dreams. If you see yourself and your family members, especially if you see your home and you're walking through your home and there's dirty water walking through your home, it is an indication that the home that you are in, right, your family, but now when you partner for clarity on that dream, you need to ask your ancestors, is it umuzi that is dirty, or is it umsamo sekai? Because umuzi, if it's dirty, maybe someone lived there before that was practicing dark magic. We'll talk about that next week. How
literally
umuzi. Literally the house that you've purchased, right? But we'll talk about that another week.
We must.
And then there's umsamo onolil, which is, and this is what amanzinyama does.
Yes.
Whether you live in Garankuwa or Pinetown, amanzinyama are going to follow you because it's a family thing.
Because it's in your bloodline. There we go. We've got some voice notes that have come through. Let's have a listen.
Ubuthiya uthi asenze njani isithatha amanzi asolwandle noma wasemfuleni noma wase ukimpompoma, and then say what awusitshele bandla ngesiZulu ukuthi funeka sithini, because I feel ngathi izinto ayilungi.
Okay, so that's the cleansing process, right?
Okay, well, she's referring to the 7-day cleanse that I was making mention of. The 7-day cleanse, thatha amanzi olwandle, mhlawumbe 5 liters or 10 okanye 10 liters, right? And then uzofaka amanzi ebhavini, as you normally would. Then mhlawumbe fake 1 or 2 liters or so, uzogeza ngawo ubiza abantu abadala. Ubachazele ukuthi cha kunje ngicela ningikhanyisele indlela ningikhombisa ukuthi konakalепhi kuvalephi, right? And then, in terms of cleansing this particular process, right? If there are indeed amanzinyama, there's two options. You can either do it in tabeni, in the mountain, or ehlathini. Take a shovel, a goat, and some firelighters, and maybe some wood, right? The reason being is, and some normal water, right? If you find bathing with cold water, then you don't need to take the firelighters and the wood, right? So you're going to be heating up some water, but this process, you're going to do it in tabeni nasehlathini because you want to leave amanzinyama nesinyama khona lapha entabeni.
Right.
Nizoshisa impepho nibabiza abantu abadala nibachazele ukuthi cha abantu abadala asazi ukuthi lokhu kusuke lapha. We don't know where it comes from in our history, but we've been tasked to cleanse this thing in our family. Therefore, we ask that all of us be pure and removed of this spiritual taint and this curse, and we be clean and pure and move forward. Nizonquma imbuzi, igazi nyongo mswane, and all of you need to cleanse with that mixture khona lapha entabeni okanye ehlathini. Those family members who decide not to participate will be left with that curse, and their lineage at the same time will also be left with that curse.
Holy, but then it stays in the family, so it kind of defeats the purpose.
So, if there's 5 siblings, there's 5 of us at home.
Yeah.
4 of us decide that we're going to do it.
Yes.
1 decides that no, I'm not going to do it. The fact that, Tina, we have done what the ancestors have asked us of, right? Our lineage and our bloodline will be fine. The 1 sibling who decides will not be okay, and their lineage as well. But nami nje as ubamncane, I would explain to my niece or nephew ukuthi hayi kunje nje ngoba ubaba wakho uma wakho unenkani.
Ah, gosh, let's listen to some more of your voice notes.
Sanibona Morning Show. Igama udisaster ngisuke ngasemlazi. Ngithi angibuze la ku Dr. Mkhize. Engabe kwenzakalani uma ngabe kunezilwane egcekeni? Uyixosha kanjani? Ngoba nazo zibuye zibe umthelela mekushiwo kwamanzi amnyama. Zona ke specific nje. Uyixosha kanjani?
All right.
Okay.
Complicated.
I was going to save this chat for next week, but it's fine. Singashaya nje kancane manje. Kunomuthi engawuzama kuqala, right? Intelezi nganye nembazo lempi, right? We sell those, okay? So one yokushunqisa, and the other one you'd boil it, you'd put it in some water, you'd boil it, and then you'd spray it in the yard and inside the house, and then you can mop it up later. Sometimes that does work.
Right.
If it doesn't work, there's another ritual that you can try, where you are all going to you're all going to vacate the house. You're not going to move in. You're not going to sleep there that night. You'd go with a goat and you take a calabash, right? You take a calabash and you put in everything that's starch, impopo, rice, samp, beans, any kind of starch that you can put in there. Fagamanzi, put some hot water in there. Then you're going to go to your gate, or when you phahla, you're not going to call upon your ancestors specifically, but you're going to call upon ancestors in general. You're going to say, Sibiza imimoya enhle, nebi. Sibiza bonga abadala bakhona la ekhaya. Right? Good and bad spirits. We are saying it is time for you to move on. Nangu mpago, here is the food for your journey so that you can move on to the afterlife and leave this place. Right?
Yes.
Here you go. Leave the calabash there, right? Then the following, you're just going to slaughter the goat. Slaughter the goat, and then go away. You're going to come back the following day, discard the calabash, discard the goat. You can't eat it.
Right. So you leave the goat overnight as well.
Or what you can do, you can slaughter the goat the following day.
How
That's
do people
also
do
fine.
this thing?
That's why I suggest to people using telezi, nembazo lembe, so that at least, yeah.
Here we go. Do we have time for one more voice note? Yes, we do. So let's have a listen.
Hi, Poppy. Hi, Sia. I would like to remain anonymous. I just want to find out how does one go about removing the amanyama, because I've seen it with my ex-husband's family. He's the father of my children, and he is very good at what he does, but just 2 of his siblings and it's a generational thing. It's been happening back from his fathers and. So how does one go about removing it? What is entailed besides the candles and stuff? Do you get somebody to come and do it at home or what?
I think that's a dynamite question because also, you know, in the way that people are living in modern South Africa, we don't always know exactly your father's lineage.
Yeah.
You don't exactly know, he might not even know his father. Do you know what I'm saying? So if things like that are happening to you and you're seeing it in your own life, what can you do?
Okay. So to answer one of her questions, no, you don't need a healer to do it for you. You can do it yourself, as I've explained.
Yes.
But if you don't know your father's lineage, I'd assume then she has the mother's surname, right? Call upon your mother's surname first, but then explain to your mother's family that you don't have a connection to your father's family and you don't understand what's going on there. Please, can they assist you with getting clarity on your father's lineage? Don't do the mistake of going straight and calling your father's surname because they don't know you.
They don't know
That's
you.
not where your spiritual umbilical cord is tied to. It's tied to your mother's family.
Very
so
interesting.
respect the people that are your rightful surname by calling upon this surname first
Got you.
and asking them to connect to the other side.
And then did we fully clarify the caller's question, Shem? I don't want to leave anything unturned. So the ex-husband, the issue, it's the cleansings that you've explained to us.
Yes. Oh, the other part I wanted to explain with that caller is it might not be a case of amanyama. Yeah, well, she needs to also, you see, a lot of young South Africans, right? When I say young South Africans, those under like 40, okay? Are in the predicament where our parents, because of the Witchcraft Act and a whole bunch of other things, could not fully explore their African spiritual gifts. So the bulk of us are going to be sitting with one of two problems, a surname issue or being the descendant of someone who had a calling but did not answer it. So she needs to make sure that it's not one of those two things before assuming it's amanzinyama. And then
And for that kind of clarity, you may need some guidance. You may need a healer.
No, I mean, we don't necessarily need a healer. Those are two things you can fix yourself. And I explain to people how to fix it themselves.
Yeah.
But of course, you need to book some time with me and then we can talk it through.